Hello there, my lovely. How are you? Welcome to another edition of our Coaching Corner here on YouTube. My name is Sabrina Militello. I'm a coach and founder of Empower Her Coaching, and I'm here to talk to you today, specifically today, because you know all of our conversations are designed to empower you, to build your self-belief, to build your sense of self-perception, that you are not only fully capable of the quality of life that you so desire, but you're also worthy of it, because that is often the limit. So our conversation today is about how to stop shrinking when you get to the edge of the next level of your life. Listen, I know that whenever we're stepping into something new, we can feel a change on the horizon, and that can start to feel really overwhelming. It can start to feel uncertain. You can start to doubt your ability, and all of those kind of low vibe and low frequency thoughts and ways of being, they will sabotage your progress. They will. But I also want you to understand that it's very normal to feel stretched there. And the mindset shift that I want this conversation to help you have is that uncertainty, that doubt, that kind of like, oh, can I really do this? Oh, I'm not sure if I'm capable. That should be a signal for you that you're right on the edge. I like to reframe overwhelm as an abundance of what I once asked for. I say that to myself a lot. I coach my clients on that shift in their mindset. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, it's usually because all of a sudden you have so much of something you once wished you had. I am deep in the process right now of shifting my business to be AI powered, to have me as the founder, human thought tank behind the whole thing, human driving the growth and the skills and the offerings and the transformation that is promised, but AI powering the back end, the systems, the processes, the automations, all of that kind of stuff, right? I'm deep in the process of figuring that out now that I am in, and it's something that needed to happen for a long time, segue, but now that I am in a season of my life where I'm not only a founder and a solopreneur, I'm also an executive officer in an organization that rolls through millions of dollars of revenue every single year, employs over 400 people, and is on the trajectory of massive growth and scale within the next 18 months. So I'm also sitting at this very high-paced, high-charged, influential table, whilst wanting deeply to continue to serve my clients one-on-one at a very, very high level. And so I'm having to start learning things that push me. I'm for AI 100%, but it's pushing me to the point where I feel like my brain is breaking multiple times a day, where I'm doing my work day and then diving deep into learning and trying to up level my skills and my understanding in that area. So I'm exhausted and I'm trying to figure it out. So I feel overwhelmed. I feel overwhelmed by everything that I'm trying to do. But I understand that sense of overwhelm is because I'm in an information abundant process right now. I'm in a skill developing abundant process right now. And those are things that I once wished and dreamed my business would afford me, that I would ever be in a position in my life and my career where I needed to up level in this way so that everything can go to the next level. That's something I hoped for, but I don't know whether I ever thought that I would actually ever be in that position. So the overwhelm, to my point, is a signal that everything is moving in the direction that I want it to go, no matter how uncomfortable it is in the moment. So I need you to understand that. I desperately want you to be able to shift your focus and your energy and your attention away from the negative connotation of overwhelm, the discomfort that you may be experiencing, and towards an understanding that this is all part of my process. So how do you stop yourself from shrinking away when you start to feel that overwhelming kind of sense of, gosh, so much more is required of me? I just shared with you that I've entered a new season. I'm just finished my second full month, 2 months in this job role, where I was brought in to truly elevate and expand an entire department within the organization. Also in conversations that are shaping the future of this business. And that for me is identity threatening. And let me explain what I mean by that. I grew up in a single parent household. We lived on government benefits. We were one of the only brown families in a very white, affluent town. We lived legit on the wrong side of the tracks. Spent some time in my formative years, 14, 15, in living in a halfway house with my mother and brothers. And I just grew up with a very deep belief. I was about to say understanding, but a belief. For me, it showed up as an understanding because it was fact, right? That not much was available to me. Not much was going to be possible for me. This was going to continue to be my reality. Everything that I saw around me, lack, survival, all of that was going to be the sole kind of color of my life too. I get emotional thinking about that because of just how starkly different my reality actually turned out. So when I share with you these things about stepping into an era of your life or a new opportunity, or you make a decision that you're going to start a business or elevate in your career or leave that relationship or get your health underneath your control, whatever it is, I need you to understand that there's going to be some level of the endeavor that's going to threaten what you believe to be true about yourself. There's going to be some aspect of what you're driving towards where the version of you that grew up with a certain belief about who you are, what you're capable of, what is available to you, what you're worthy of, is going to start screaming. She's going to start knocking on the inside of your brain, be like, hello, excuse me, pay attention to me. Like, this doesn't fit. This feels uncomfortable. We can't be here. We can't do that. And that is what is going to make you shrink if you allow it to, or it's going to help you elevate and keep pushing forward if you allow it to. I've chosen the latter. And again, it's only been 2 months, so come at me 6 to 12 months down the line and see whether I'm still here talking about this stuff and still believing so deeply that I'm exactly where I need to be. Only time will tell, right? But I really need you to understand that in this position that I'm in, it's deeply identity threatening to me. And that is why it works. Because I've conditioned myself to be somebody who thrives in that sense of pushing beyond my current capacity. I've very deeply come to terms with the fact that I am the greatest obstacle in my life. If you haven't read the book, The Obstacle Is You by Brianna West, I strongly recommend that you run, don't walk, to go and get yourself a copy of that book, and then you read and listen to it multiple times. The Obstacle Is You by Brianna West. This is a foundational belief of mine, that we are the single greatest obstacle in our lives. You're the single greatest obstacle in your life. I'm the single greatest obstacle in my life. Not your spouse, not your kid, not the government, not the society, not social media, nothing. Right here, right? And once you take that on, once you truly understand the truth of that, anytime you feel a push at your edge, you start to realize that if you don't answer the push, if you shrink away from the push, you are limiting your ability. You are making the decision to not get your life to exactly where it is that you want to be. You want it to be. So this is a conversation about identity, in case you were confused. We're talking about overwhelm. We're talking about how to not shrink. But truly, the only way that you will not, and the only way you will stop, because I know this has probably been your reality, you sabotage all over yourself. You procrastinate all over everything. You speak perfectionism as an excuse or a justification for why you don't do the thing, launch the thing, say the thing, share the thing, post the thing, start the thing. You overthink everything. You doubt yourself to the point where you're like a withering mess on the floor. This is something that shows up for you constantly. And I hate to say always and never. I don't use absolutes like that. I got excited. But you do this constantly, and I know that you can recognize the truth in that for yourself. So until you stop doing that, until you realize that the discomfort, the thing that triggers the desire for you to procrastinate, the thing that triggers the I'm a perfectionist justification for you not doing the thing that triggers the self-doubt into oblivion, once you start seeing that thing as a signal for your next level calling, once you start seeing that discomfort as if you don't push, you are causing the stuckness and the limit, everything changes after that realization. I can promise you that. I told you my origin story. What I haven't told you is the moment that caused that change and caused the flip to switch for me. The switch to flip, the flip to switch, whatever, that changed the game for me. And it was a moment, I'll take you back to it. It's sometimes challenging for me to talk about this because it's a moment that actually spanned almost 5 years of time, period of time, 4 years. So it was a moment that my husband turned to me one day and he said, "I don't love you anymore." And that happened a couple of weeks before my birthday one year. And I remember being so broken by that sentence and everything that it meant. We'd been together since we were 17 years old. We'd been married at that time for about 7 or 8 years. And I remember just thinking, wow, it really was too good to be true. Because everything about where I'd come from and who I was had told me that this relationship and the life that we were living was too good for me. And in that moment, it was confirmation. It was like, see, that's the thought that went through my head immediately. See? A lot of things happened after that. We eventually found our way back to each other, and our relationship, our marriage right now is beyond anything that I could ever have hoped for. And I don't have somebody in the back of my head saying, just wait, it's not gonna last. Like, that's gone. So I'm happy to say that we have a happy solution and a happy ending to the story of that. But that moment became a catalyst for a period of about 4 years of my life, where I started to question everything that I believed to be true about myself. Because here's the thing that shifted. For me, that thought of, see, told you weren't worth shit. Knew this was going to happen. I knew this was too good for you. That thinking highlighted to me that my worth and my value was 100% placed on how other people felt about me. 100%. And I would say probably about 90% of that 100% was placed on how my husband felt about me, how he saw me, how he viewed me, what he believed to be true about me. That was where all of my worth, my value, and my self-perception was. And I realized that I was not comfortable with that I never wanted somebody else to have that amount of power over me, not just emotionally, but also financially, my sense of security, my sense of self, my sense of safety, my sense of belonging, my mental health. That wasn't okay with me, that all of those things were external of myself. And so that moment, that period of time in my relationship, spawned a series of questions and a bunch of adjustments. So much learning, so much emphasis on healing and up-leveling my relationship with myself, that it completely transformed where my sense of self now lies. Now, what I'm most concerned about is how I feel about myself. Is there still work to do? Of course. I came from a very, very broken self-image. But now, how I live my life is based on the things that matter to me. Not in a selfish way, but in a very self-fulfilled way. I want to live my life fulfilled by the woman that I am, fulfilled by the work that I do, fulfilled by the impact I make, the influence I have, the quality of my relationships, my level of health, the quality of the experiences I have, the freedom I get to enjoy. That's what I want my life to be. And none of that was possible for me in a self-perception that was tied externally of myself on other people's fleeting emotions. That's what it boils down to, right? Other people change their minds. Other people change their emotions just like they change their socks. Other people, and you do too, right? There'll be people that come into your life, you're all about it, and then something will happen, or the season will change, or it's not as convenient, and they start to drift out of your life. So if that happens to you, like for you with other people, you can best believe that also happens with other people, how they view you. So if your sense of self is constantly tied to those external metrics, relationships, people, circumstances, situations, then you're always going to be limited by what you believe to be possible for yourself. So to bring all of this back, your identity is the single most important piece of your relationship with yourself. And once you start seeing yourself in a different way, now all that discomfort and uncertainty and, oh my gosh, this feels like a lot, that comes with pushing to your next level, you understand that it's a requirement of you to live the life that you want to live. Now, the discomfort, the uncertainty, all those key emotions, they're not a signal for you to run away and hide. Now, they're an invitation. Can you see the difference that would make if you started seeing those uncomfortable emotions and thought processes and moments and thinking? If you started to see those as a positive thing, as opposed to being a banishment on your worth or a signal that you suck, how different things could be. And I'm thinking about specific people in my life right now when I'm sharing this with you, women that are incredibly powerful, women that have so much strength and so much character and force of character that I see shrinking themselves because of their sense of worth, their sense of capability, their sense of self, because of stories they made up from their past. And I see how the inability to heal or work on those things, the inability or the unwillingness to sit in the discomfort of those things in order to move through them in a similar way that I have, obviously 100% in their way, is going to be the continual block to their growth and their expansion. And that's great if you feel as if you've reached personal enlightenment, you've got all the things that you want, your life looks exactly how you always desired it to look, you're contributing in the ways that you've always wanted to, you're influencing and impacting in the ways you've always desired to. Your children have a perfect example of what it means to go after everything that they dream of because they're following your example. If that's what your reality is, great, get on with your bad self. But if it's not, especially that last one, I think for a lot of you that may be watching this, then there's work to be done, right? And the more you pull away, the more you shrink back from the call of your next level, no matter how hard that feels sometimes, the more you're blocking everything that you say you want. So I'm going to leave it there. I think this conversation just needed to be short, sharp, to the point of really tying in everything we've been talking about when it comes to identity so far and helping you realize just what is at stake. I hope my story gives you a little bit more color and context to everything that I share with you and the reason I coach the way that I do, because I'm not here to see you continue to get in your own way. That's not what I do. I don't desire to have my clients work with me for the rest of their lives because they're still working on trying to figure it out. No. My desire is that my clients work with me to reach that point where they've got it. They can take it. And if we need to dip in and dip out every now and again for them to get a pep in their step again and reignite that belief, we can do that. But my goal is that you work with me for a period of time that sets you up for the results that you desire, because your sense of self changes in the environment that we operate in. That's the goal. So all of these conversations I have, they're never with a desire to kind of keep you hanging, keep you like hanging the carrot, dangling the carrot, that's what it is, but truly to empower you and to give you the tools and the systems, the tactics, the reality of what it takes to change your life. And it comes from a place of, if I can do that, you can freaking do that. Because remember where I came from. Remember, I had no examples of what better could look like. Remember the reality and the possibility that I believed was going to be my life. Remember that? And then the life that I live now is vastly different. Vastly different. I run my own business. I'm an executive officer in a multi-million-dollar corporation. I have a beautiful marriage. It's not perfect, but it's beautiful. We have financial abundance. We have so many freedoms. We have a quality of life that is beyond anything that I could have even fathomed. I said this the other day to somebody, that my 5-year-old self would think that I was a superhero. My 15-year-old self would think that, wouldn't even believe that this was the life that she would be living one day. 15, I was living in a halfway house with my mum and my brothers. 15-year-old me would be like, nah, you're lying. But 5-year-old me would be like, wow, you're a superhero. And I want you to have that sense of how different things can be simply because you empowered yourself to go through the ugly, messy of what it takes to make great change, to live exactly the quality of life that you want to live, because it is possible. So I'll leave it there. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Consider subscribing to the channel. I would love that. Tell me what your takeaways were from this. Come and find me on social media or comment right here, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you're struggling with. Let's talk about the things that you're getting from these sessions and what you're putting into place, and the things that are shifting and changing for you, because I want to support you in all of that. All right? Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you next time.